Right. Welcome to Media Melanie TV. I am Melanie, and today I'm back with a special guest. I've got Kim from Mixed Bag here. How are you, Kim?
I am great. Thanks. How are you?
Doing well. I mean, first of all, this season of Dexter Resurrection as a whole, for me at least, it has exceeded my expectations just so much more than I ever thought. What are your thoughts on just like big picture season one of this spinoff?
So, I was one of those people who wasn't very happy about it happening in the first place because I really liked how New Blood ended. I always wanted Dexter to end up getting caught, and I really enjoyed Harrison kind of being the one to do it, and then Harrison going off to live a normal life. I liked how that wrapped up. So, I wasn't super happy when it was announced, but I started watching it anyways, obviously, and very pleasantly surprised. It was much better than New Blood, in my opinion, and it really felt more OG Dexter. It felt like another season of the original show.
It sure did. It definitely has a lot of that DNA. Now, let me ask you this. Did you watch Original Sin?
Yes, absolutely. Loved that one.
Yeah, same here. I was actually a little surprised it got canceled after it was already renewed, but I do think also with the changes at Paramount and then the surprise success of Resurrection, perhaps they did like reallocate some budget.
I've also, so I don't, this is nothing official, but I saw someone comment saying they are sort of expecting to still see a few scenes with the cast from Original Sin, just that it'll be woven into Resurrections, which I could see happening. Seems weird to just totally axe all that work and that amazing casting.
Yeah, I think it would be smart if they did use some of them and maybe did some flashbacks, right? Because poor Patrick Gibson also, he's been in Shadow and Bone and the OA on Netflix, which were both preemptively canceled, and now this. So hopefully they can sort of like resurrect them, I guess, within Resurrection in some way. So yeah,
No pun
here's
intended.
exactly. I mean, or pun intended. And speaking
Yeah.
of resurrection, they literally brought up the word resurrection throughout this first season so many times. And what did you think about that ending scene and Dexter's inner monologue on the boat and kind of like looking at the audience and saying, I'm exactly who you want me to be?
Well, I love seeing him back on a boat disposing of bodies the way he does. But I thought it was a little weird that he took the boat in the first place. Isn't that a perfect way to get caught with Prater presumed missing?
And not only that, but the boat literally being called the Getaway. I I feel like with this episode being 45 minutes, they could have shown us another 15 minutes of something in between Dexter escaping and how he found the boat, how he knew how to access it, and then moving forward with the boat. I mean, it's got to have GPS. Everyone thinks Leon is on the run. Isn't that one of the first places that they're going to end up looking for him?
You would think, but I guess Dexter's in this sort of era where he's okay with taking some risks, unlike original Dexter.
Yes, and I feel like he's also grown a lot this season too, right? His journey, his emotional journey in finding more connection with Harrison, more meaningful friendships with Blessing. But also speaking of the Blessing, okay, I also felt like it was maybe just a little unnecessary. I get it, red herring for the New York Ripper. At any point during this season, did you think that Blessing was the New York Ripper?
I didn't think he was going to be the New York Ripper, but I definitely thought that there was going to be something more there. Like he was some kind of possible serial killer. Maybe had killed someone. I really enjoyed him in the first half of the season. It was kind of funny that he just sort of disappeared halfway and other things were focused on. So I'm wondering why he was there.
Yes, and then also to have accused Dexter of betraying him in such a manner, and then all of a sudden they're just reconciling and hugging like nothing ever happened. I mean, that seemed a little bit fast to me. So, and speaking of other things that sort of just disappeared, where did Elsa go? Okay, I get it. The black mold, she had to move out, but is she going to come back into play? I mean, I thought was going to get her at some point.
I really expected her and Harrison to end up together by the end of the season, but I can't remember the name of the blonde girl from the forensics.
Gigi, and I cannot stand her, Kim. I literally cannot stand her.
She doesn't seem like the type that he would end up with. I thought that he would end up with Elsa, and it was sort of a homage to Dexter and Rita in the original series, how Dexter was with a single mom, and I thought it would be that kind of thing.
Yeah, it would have been a good callback, and I don't think it's out of the realm that she will maybe come back in some way. I just did not enjoy watching Harrison and Gigi hooking up. And nothing against the actress who plays Gigi, but just for me, it felt like a lack of chemistry there. And I like, we had 2 scenes of them hooking up in the finale, and I'm just like, you could have allocated this time somewhere else.
Totally agreed. I think it was an introduction of a kind of unnecessary character, really.
Yes. Yeah. And let's talk about Charlie and Leon. So during the course of the season, where was your head in terms of where you thought the Leon story would go?
I honestly had no idea. I didn't see Dexter getting out of this. You know, Leon Prater he's a billionaire. He has all of these connections. I thought Dexter was kind of done for, and I really didn't see how he would get out of it. I think it's kind of convenient that he killed someone in the second to last episode to fit Dexter's code. And I'm a little bit bummed that Peter Dinklage won't be back for the next season because he's dead.
Yeah, and he was, for me, one of the high points of the season. I could have maybe seen it going somewhere where Dexter did, in fact, work with him. Leon brought him all of the people in his club and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it also made more sense for him to die because Dexter despised him, similar to how Charlie despised Leon. And Charlie, okay. So in Original Sin, they had Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was a big name. She didn't do a whole lot. And I feel like it's a fair comparison that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Uma Thurman, Uma didn't do a lot. We did not get a lot from her. Do you think she'll come back into play? What were your overall sentiments on Charlie's character?
I sort of think Charlie is gone, but I wish she would come back. I liked her character, but again, a little bit convenient with her exit. I actually kind of thought that Dexter made up the incriminating documents completely and just pulled the wool over both of their eyes, but maybe not.
And let me ask you another question. Okay, I understand that these files were located in Leon's secret vault, which you need a fingerprint to access and a code and whatnot. But do you really think he would have just left them fully unattended and unlocked drawers? What?
No, crazy. I've never written a password down in my life.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, a lot of people actually had picked up in the comments during the course of the season that perhaps the vault code did relate somehow to Leon's parents and Cooper Morris and whatnot. So, I mean, that was pretty clever. Another thing that I didn't pick up on before, with the M99 and Harrison using that protection to stab Leon in the chest, did you think when Dexter was offering Harrison protection that it was simply like condoms, or did you think that it was perhaps something else because we didn't see it?
I honestly didn't read into that too much. What about you? What did you think?
I thought it was just condoms, especially because we had just heard the conversation of them in Blessing's rideshare and that he has everything you could possibly need. So I just thought it sort of fed into that conversation of protection, just given the fact, you know, we knew that they were going to hook up. So that was a little surprising. And then Dexter saying, oh, Harrison, the protection I gave you, or sorry, I didn't give you the right protection. It was a smart way to take Leon out. But at the same time, I don't know, Harrison being at the gala was just another convenience for me. I mean, really? Like, what are the odds he gets offered that cater waiter job?
And how did nobody notice his spyware? Like he had his AirPod in and then his phone just sitting there and no one questioned it at all. No one noticed him talking to himself. I mean, it was clever, but really?
Yeah, no, same. One moment I actually really did enjoy from the gala was Claudette. She's walking out. She hears the song. She's like, what is going on here? And like I said in my review, I was like, okay, inner dialogue. Oh, that's my song. Gotta go, you know, busting a move on the dance floor. I actually love to see her loosening up a little bit. But in terms of the New York Ripper, okay, Dexter left that file in the vault. Do you think it is actually the file and he's doing Claudette a solid, or is it possible that maybe he switched it out and put, I don't know, like Al's information in the New York Ripper? I don't know. Like, what do you think about that?
I sort of didn't question that. I thought he just left the true information. I kind of thought that maybe if he left that, that would give Claudette something to do to keep her not thinking about Harrison's case, to keep her busy, sort of.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Harrison's case, I kept waiting for that watch to come back into play at some point. And I mean, will it come up in the future, or is that just like kind of a done deal? I don't know.
I sort of think they're just going to leave it there. But I can't believe he got away with it. I really thought that was going to come up again.
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of things that were very helpful in terms of Dexter and Harrison getting away. And moving into season 2, Harrison is very fully aware of who his dad is and what he's doing. And I kind of like the way every time Dexter calls him with something, Harrison's like, oh, did you talk to him or did you talk to him? And why are you calling from Angel's phone and all of that? Speaking of Angel, his death, that episode hit pretty hard. What was your overall favorite episode from the season?
Oh, I really liked Lady Vengeance, her final episode. Or I guess not her final episode, but the one she was most featured in. She turned out to be completely different than I thought she was. I thought she was going to be a love interest for Dexter and they were going to have similar codes, but yeah, I guess not.
I thought so too. I thought Kristen Ritter was great. And one of my early season criticisms was the fact that they did get rid of some of these killers so fast, especially Neil Patrick Harris. I loved Doogie Howser, MD. It was like one of my favorite shows growing up. We barely got to see him. And then the Gemini being taken out so fast. I guess I wanted to see more from them. And I really wanted to see the Gemini, especially actually like make a kill and show us his work because of how big his ego was. I think that we could have maybe like seen that.
Neil Patrick Harris was the kind of the creepiest out of all of them too. Like he liked to deglove his victims. That is so disgusting.
Just absolutely unhinged. And I did like the moment when all these people were on the table, like when Leon was on the table, when, when he took Gemini out, not on the table at the retreat, but also just Neil Patrick Harris being there. I don't know. I loved him. And I guess I was expecting the way they were teasing it for some of these cast members to be moving forward into other seasons. But now we're very limited with that. There's Al and basically there's Charlie. So like, what is going to happen with that? Do you think Al will be the first one that Dexter goes after?
I kind of hope so because I misjudged him. I'm sure other people probably did too. I thought he would be the easiest to take out and he ended up being the smartest and just disappeared. So I think if we could focus a bit in season 2 on Dexter finding him and hunting him down, that would be pretty satisfying.
It definitely would be. Do you think that he could have potentially been tipped off? I've heard people saying that maybe Charlie or Leon, after they sort of started becoming more suspicious of Red Dexter, that maybe they let him know, hey, you should probably get out of town. Or do you think it was just he didn't like Hamilton, he got out of town, nothing to see here?
I think it was his own survival instinct, seeing everyone else in the group slowly get taken down. I'm not even sure if he's suspicious of Red. What do you think? Or Dexter?
I don't know. In a way, I guess I thought it was pretty forward of Red Dexter to be calling him the way he did and wanting to meet up. So I do wonder if his alarm bells maybe went up in some fashion. And then there's also the fact that, I mean, maybe he did end up taking out Elsa. Maybe that will come into play. But again, with the Elsa thing, like the whole landlord side story in general, just for it to drop off and have it be such a loose end, I don't know. There were some loose ends and questions here. I mean, there were a few of them.
And do you think that the landlord recognized Dexter in his nylon mask?
I thought so. I said that in my review. The nylons weren't the best disguise. And given the fact that Dexter was already there talking to him earlier in the day, if he didn't intend to kill him, you would think he maybe would have used a better disguise, maybe?
You would think. Dexter is taking some risks.
100%. 100%. And then, the Batista of it all, right? They brought Quinn into this season a couple of times. Where do you think that it's going to go next season? Is Quinn taking the next flight up to New York, or how is this all going to play out?
I mean, I kind of hope so. He seems to have a relationship with Batista. And so I know that if my former coworker was investigating someone, is as crazy as it was for him to be investigating him and then suddenly turned up dead, I would have some major questions. I would be showing up. And I would also really like to focus on Quinn in season 2. He was one of my favorites from the original series. Maybe Quinn and Mazuka could show up together.
I would love that. And it feels like a natural way to bring some of these OG characters back into the mix. And I'm wondering too, is Quinn going to somehow be able to access Angel's phone at some point? I mean, Dexter has it right now, but all those voice memos are on there. And then the murder board Angel had up on his hotel room wall. I just feel like I wonder, I guess, or I waver between Quinn thinking that Angel got in over his head and maybe he was actually onto something, or the fact that, Angel maybe was the Bay Harbor butcher, which I don't know if it's quite as likely. And then Dexter took the Bay Harbor butcher slides, and with Leon missing and the Bay Harbor butcher connection, I just feel like there's a lot of different possibilities.
Yeah, totally agree. And speaking of OG cast, I gasped out loud when we saw Brian Moser. That
Yes.
was
And
awesome.
it's funny because I had said before, do we need more ghosts? We've had Ghost Deb. We've had Dexter in this coma dream with all these people appearing to him. We have Harry as the angel on his shoulder. And in a way, Brian worked because it is sort of the like equivalent of the devil angel on the shoulder situation. But also, I mean, do we need more ghosts? It actually worked for him, though, as a character. I think the way he was brought in with the dialogue of, hey, why are you listening to your fake father when your real blood brother is here? And then his stuff being in the vault. I mean, it worked.
Yeah, totally. I really enjoyed seeing him for sure.
Yes. Now let's talk about low points of the season. I mean, I think the season altogether was right up there, maybe a 9 altogether. But
Yeah.
for you, what were some of the lower points?
Honestly, I was really digging everything up until the finale with some of those loose ends, like we talked about, not being tied together. I thought there was a lot of convenience in the finale. Like one thing being the gun that killed Batista. They see right away that it has Prater's fingerprints on it, but it doesn't have any of Dexter's, even though he's handled the gun without gloves. Also, how could they know that they were his fingerprints so quickly? I mean, I don't know much about forensics, but can they get a result that fast? And then what else was it? We've mentioned that I agree with you. I didn't really like the new love interest for Harrison. I would have much preferred they focus on Elsa. Yeah, let me think. Honestly, for very little criticism though. For the most part, it was solid.
I would agree, along with you, just some of these conveniences and then taking out some of the bigger serial killers earlier on.
Yeah.
And then, in a way, I really wouldn't have minded seeing Leon moving forward. But I mean, I guess they had to take him out, just like they had to take Angel out, because as much as all of us love Angel Batista, it would not have really made sense for there to be this ongoing cat and mouse chase. But the way they've set it up now with potentially Quinn entering the scene, I do think makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, totally. I would love to see Quinn show up in season 2 for sure.
And New York Ripper wise, okay, so I look at this almost like the equivalent of Pit Girl in Yellow Jackets. I
Yeah.
don't think they expected the New York Ripper to be such a big focus within the fandom. I mean, yes, of course it was a subplot, but moving forward, I think, first of all, a lot of us wouldn't have minded getting a reveal of who the New York Ripper was, but for it to be a random guy, Dawn, first of all, are we going to get a time jump and then all of a sudden the New York Ripper's in jail because Dexter left the file? Or is there going to be more to it, more for Claudette to investigate? Or are they just going to wrap it up as a whole and like, we're done? What do you think?
I sort of think it's wrapped up. I kind of got the feeling him just leaving the file there. Claudette's we know she's gonna thoroughly investigate that. I think it's finished.
For me, if it is finished, I do think that's kind of a disappointment. Just all of that build up and the red herring of Blessing and all that. I was just hoping it would be another big name cast in season 2. But now that all of the other files are out there, I suppose there is more of an opportunity to get some other actors involved to play some of these other killers. And I mean, the thing with the files is now Dexter has endless content and endless targets moving forward. So is he going to be like road tripping it all across the US to hunt these people? Because we know they're not all based in New York. How is that going to work out? Or I just can't see him not being in New York now that they've set that up as such a character here in the series.
I think I would love to see him take a little road trip across the US. I think that would be an awesome idea for season 2. But I agree. He seems to be pretty well set up in New York. It's a good spot for him to be anonymous, you know?
Yeah, no, that is true. And I mean, what is he going to do with the boat? And if he does go on this road trip, is he going solo, or is there a world in which Harrison would come? I kind of don't think so, because he is trying to protect his son. But how would it play just like Dexter in a car by himself? I don't know.
I sure hope he doesn't take the yacht and sail around the world looking for these people, because that's going to be tracked down eventually.
It has to be. And like you, I did enjoy the callback to his initial methodology of disposing of the bodies, but it was just way too convenient. Again, just the name of the boat being the Getaway. There has to be, they have to be looking at this. And the pier, wherever the yacht was, there's going to be footage. I
Yeah.
mean, how is he not going to get caught? Now, Leon's body is probably gone and buried in the ocean, so I don't think they'll find it. But what if they find Leon's blood, say, on the ceiling of the vault? I mean, Dexter cleaned up. He had bleach, he had bags, he had the plastic wrap, which some people are like, hey, also way too convenient. But I don't know, maybe the penthouse had a maid closet or something. But is
Ooh.
there potentially more evidence in there that will lead them to, okay, why is Leon's blood in here? Or do you think that he actually just managed to clean it all up, nothing to see here?
I think they're probably going to go with the whole clean it up, nothing to see here, especially after we saw in the first, I think it was the first episode, right, where Harrison cleaned up really well too. And that's just Harrison. He's a total amateur. So Dexter has got to be able to clean up even better than he can.
Yeah, that is a good point. And Harrison coming to save Dexter. Okay. First of all, smart Dexter was able to crack the code to let Harrison get in. But the timing of the phone running out of battery and the way he was just able to hold it up to Angel's face. And do you even believe that a cell phone would work in that vault in the first place?
I didn't even question the phone working, but I did question him being able to unlock the phone, because I read somewhere after watching this on another show at some point, no, it can't unlock if there's no like warmth in the face or something like that. It won't actually activate the sensors properly. So that was definitely another convenient sort of thing.
Yeah, it definitely was. And the fact that Harrison is sort of the like Robin to Dexter's Batman. And this is something I think that's been a discussion with Dexter altogether. I see him as kind of a good guy because he's taking out bad people. He is kind of an anti-hero. But I mean, the fact is he's still a killer. Where do you land on just like the perception or how you personally see Dexter as a character?
I mean, he sort of shifted from, originally he was only supposed to kill people that had evaded the law, right? Who had evaded justice. And he's evolved. Pardon me, he's evolved from that, and now he's just killing anyone that he thinks is guilty, right? So I don't know how much I agree with that. But overall, I see him as like a superhero type character. I'm generally in favor of his actions.
Yes. And I like the way that they use New York and just the visuals that they set up at the beginning and ends of these episodes with, I don't know, it had this noir comic book feel to it a little bit. And the way at the end of the Angel episode, they showed the making of his hat and then paying that off with Claudette saying, oh, this hat belongs to Detective Batista as they're wheeling him out. Like that actually really got me.
Yeah, the hat. That was like the saddest part of the whole episode, was laying the hat with him.
Yeah, it actually hit harder than like the final words and the last moments Angel was alive for me. Now, we have a comment down here by Kaz. Noticed Claudette's partner at the poker table where Charlie hired the prison guard to off Mia. I did not notice that at all. Kim, like, did you notice that?
Not at all. Huh.
Very interesting. I wonder what that connection could mean. And speaking of Oliva, a lot of people thought that maybe he was the New York Ripper. The way they were talking about the manhole covers and the hook, and he interjects this joke about, oh, I love Parks and Rec or the show or whatever.
Yeah.
He's very unserious about a lot of things. And I don't know, what could it mean if he was at that table with the person that took Mia out? That is interesting. Could he be on Leon's payroll, perhaps? And the other part with Leon raising all this money, how likely is it that the New York police actually want to tarnish his name and take down one of the biggest benefactors for the entire police force in New York City?
That's a good point. And, I could see Claudette's partner being a dirty cop. I don't have any real proof, just kind of his demeanor. I could see it. I wouldn't be surprised at all by that.
Now, let me ask you this. I never went back and actually looked if he had a wedding ring on his finger, but I'm assuming neither one of them are involved because they didn't have a +1. You would assume if one of them had a spouse or a significant other, they would have perhaps brought them to the gala.
Yeah.
The way they banter, she called him out on the sleeve being shorter. Do you think that they could even be seeing each other behind the scenes and they put on this sort of front while they're at work? Or do you think there's nothing to see there?
I don't know if they have started yet because I feel like that would have been shown, but I could see it happening eventually if they continue into the second season. There's definitely some tension there.
There is, and that's something I wouldn't mind love interest wise, because obviously I did not love Harrison and Gigi, but I appreciate when there is a slow build of these relationships and they don't just kind of have it right off the bat. It's more meaningful and authentic, I think, when they do develop it that way. And I really actually wouldn't mind seeing them together. But if he is a dirty cop, then they could be pitted against each other at some point too.
Ooh, I would love that because Claudette, I think she's pretty black and white. I couldn't see her doing anything that goes against her values.
Yeah, I can see that. And Lady Dawn Ray is here. Thank you for being here. I think they will keep Leon's stuff under wraps. Now that's interesting. And if they do that, it then won't be out in the news, perhaps, that Leon somehow got caught or is involved in this. So the other serial killers, do they know that Leon had all these files on them that could potentially become public and they have to go into hiding? Or if they do cover it up, I mean, that will allow the serial killers to sort of stay the course, and then maybe Dexter actually will be able to get them.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious if Prater's hobbies are kept under wraps. That could be a big point of tension for Claudette and her partner, and so we could see them kind of going up against each other in season 2, based on over that.
For sure. And what are they going to do with these items in the vault? I mean, the way everybody walked in and was like, what is this place? Harrison included. Are they going to take all these things into evidence? And the New York Ripper hook, is there potentially some DNA on there, or does Leon clean it up? And I mean, we know there's the file, this Don Frant guy. Who is Don Frant in the first place? And I know, you said maybe this storyline is wrapped up, but I would be just so disappointed. And I keep coming back to it. They set so much up for this New York Ripper. And then for it to not be anybody that we even knew in the first place, there has to be some kind of twist. He has to have switched out that file or something, because just way too neat for something with so much table setting.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could be right about that. Maybe he'll go looking him up and then recognize him as someone else.
Yeah, and then let's see. Franklin McNamara seems dodgy. Leon announced him as a co-conspirator. He was the police commissioner, right? I think was he the police?
I'm trying to remember the name. I can't remember who it is either.
Same. I feel like that was who he announced at the gala. Maybe the commissioner. I'm not sure, but that if it is the commissioner, then he was in that picture by the yacht with Leon. So perhaps, I mean, they are going to keep this all covered up, which is interesting. And then would that allow Dexter to actually get away on the boat if they're not going to look into it? And then he could keep the yacht? I really waver about the whole yacht situation.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And I mean, we wouldn't be too worried about that because Prater's already been brought to justice.
Oh, and let's see. Pike in the filing cabinet. Hotelier Stefan Pike. Ooh. I didn't put that together. I actually called out all the names in the files in my review. And then I took the name Don Frant and I put it in ChatGPT and asked it to spit out all the different anagrams, thinking if this is the highest profile serial killer, the most notorious that has been eluding law enforcement for years, then would he have maybe decoded or coded that name a little bit so that way it wasn't as obvious as the rest? And there has to be a tie with Leon and the New York Ripper. How else would he got that hook?
Yeah, totally.
And then something else. They've sort of opened the door that there's a possibility that Dexter could maybe make his way back on the force at some point. The way he pointed out the blood spatter to Claudette, and I think she kind of got a little bit more respect for Dexter in that moment too. Like, wow, yeah, this guy was in law enforcement. He was a blood spatter analyst. First of all, when Gigi said the blood splatter thing, like that was ridiculous. Also, tell me if you relate to this. when Harrison made the comment, hey, my dad used to take out murderers back in like the early 1900s. Do your kids ever say this to you? Like, oh, how was it back in the 1900s, mom? Because like I hear this all the time.
Oh yeah, totally. The late 1900s for sure.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, you would think that we're back in like the covered wagon days, just the way that they reference it, and really kind of makes me feel my age. But along with that, there were also a lot of humorous moments, I think, in the season, a little like under the radar, but I did appreciate that. And needle drops. I think there was some really great music mixed in here as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Did you watch You on Netflix?
Oh, absolutely. Although I definitely got distracted from it during I guess it was the 4th season. I found that one to be really slow.
The European one, the British one?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that one. But the final season, not too bad.
Yeah. The final moment of You, and again, I brought this up in my review. If anybody has not, for some reason, seen that, maybe walk away, a little bit of a spoiler. But the last scene of that series, when Joe Goldberg looks deadpan into the camera and delivers this message to us as viewers saying, you know, you're part of the problem in breaking that fourth wall. I appreciated the way that Dexter did this at the end of this episode, looking straight on and saying, I'm who I need to be. I am exactly who you want me to be. Do you think he was talking to us as the audience there?
Oh, maybe. I hadn't considered that, but I could definitely see that.
Oh, and then Kaz is here saying too, I thought the anagram thing dormant, but a spare F. Interesting. I just think there has to be more with this Dawn Frant. It can't be wrapped up that easily. Honestly, that will make me upset. And moving into season 2, do we think there will be a time jump, or would you prefer it if it sort of just picks up where this one left off?
I'm generally not a big fan of time jumps. I hope it just picks up where he left off. I would like to see the fallout from Prater's death. I would like to see how he and Harrison choose to move forward, whether he's going to go hunt down Al, whether he's going to go hunt down the New York Ripper or Dawn, whatever, whoever he is. I feel like maybe he will target Al first, maybe take him out sort of easily, and then move on to Dawn and find that that is more challenging than he thought, and it'll take up a bit more episode time.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And we've got another comment here from Murray Elite. Prater has no friends. That's why he opened up to Dexter. And Prater will be blamed for everything. And Charlie is going to inherit all his wealth and the properties. Then Charlie and Dexter will team up. But my biggest question is, are they even going to really figure out that Leon is dead in the first place? And how long does it take to be legally declared dead in a way where then they could just pass on all of his stuff to Charlie?
Ooh.
And also, if he was keeping this blackmail file on her, would she be the one that he would leave all of his stuff to anyway? I mean, he's got to have a will. Who is he leaving his estate to?
I'm not sure who else he would leave it to, because like the commenter said, he doesn't have friends, and I don't think he has family, right? He doesn't. Charlie seems to be the only one. I think I wouldn't be mad if Charlie came back in the 2nd season. I would like to know what dirt he has on her, because we didn't get any hint of that. What did she do?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just kind of tracking all the dirty work that she did for him, but there wasn't a lot that we really garnered from her. Even when Dexter went to her house in the pictures, all we learned was that her and her mom both served. Something that stood out to me, though, was Charlie in the finale was wearing the bandage from, getting hurt. And Gigi had that arm brace on. And why would they have brought up Gigi having an injury? I mean, I guess it could be for her to go into forensic versus becoming a detective. But the odds of both of the blonde women wearing some sort of like brace or bandage on their arm in the same spot, is that a seed that was planted or just coincidence?
That would be quite a twist, because I took it to be her going into forensics. Maybe Harrison is going to as well. That would be quite a twist. I'm really curious now if there's anything more to that.
And I've got to say, if Harrison and Gigi are both going into forensics and they end up going to school together, and I don't know, in a world maybe they become partners or work together, I'm hoping Gigi grows on me because, again, she is just not my favorite. And speaking of Leon's money, commenter here, Lady Dunray said, I'm pretty sure you have to be missing for 7 years before they declare you legally dead. Now, missed opportunity when Leon was like, hey, you let me go. I'll give you this generational wealth, all the money for Harrison. Now, Dexter should have been like, okay, sure. Like, wire us the money right now, and then I'll let you go. And then they could have actually had the money. I think that actually would have been interesting.
Harrison would be the perfect person to be in charge of all that. I don't think he would waste it. It would not be a wasted opportunity if for him.
No, 100% no. And the blood slides. I really appreciated the way that Dexter diminished Leon as a person, and he fit the code. That's why Dexter killed him. But the way he did not take the blood off his cheek and put it into the slide collection, that was a statement and something that I did not see coming, completely unexpected.
Is he going to come up with a new trophy from this point forward? A new way of taking trophies? I don't know.
That would be very interesting. And is he just going to go back to hiding the blood slides in his apartment again? You would think he's going to have to put those somewhere else. And is he going to disappear or just pop back up and play dumb, and the police come to talk to him, at his apartment, and he's like, what do you mean, Leon Prater, blah, blah, blah. Because Angel had the picture of Leon and Dexter together. So, I mean, that's out there and people know that.
Yeah, totally. And was it really just Prater and Charlie that knew about this serial killers club, or did Prater maybe tell another employee? Or because they had bodyguards at some of the events too, right? So others would have known something. Someone had to have recognized him.
You'd think so. And I've also got to say, some of those security and bodyguards probably could have just done a better job in general. Another convenience for me was when Harrison's trying to get out, and to your point, he's got the phone peeking out and the earbuds. Someone did say, okay, all people of that age wear the earbuds, but I don't know, just something about the convenience of his friend Lance, or whatever his name was, going to the dispensary, vaping, and using that as an excuse to distract the bodyguard. Are they really that easily distractible? Like, come on.
Yeah, maybe Prater, maybe this is one area he's cheaping out on, paying his staff, except Charlie.
I mean, some deficiencies there for sure. Let's see, what other your highest high point of the entire season, your favorite crowning moment that you will always look back and say, wow, they did that so well.
I really liked seeing Dexter and Lady Vengeance, or Mia, together. I thought they were amazing together. Amazing chemistry. I was really hoping that they would end up together. Obviously, that didn't happen. I was surprised how much I liked the Serial Killer Club. I thought that was so hokey at first, but it worked for me. I really liked seeing this whole group get together and talk about their kills.
Same. And the amount of money they were offered, of course, take the money. But now that they all know about each other, and if they don't sweep the Leon thing under the rug, I really do, again, wonder about the lasting impact of how that's going to change their protocols and whatnot. And given that there were so many other files of ones who we haven't met, again, really smart way to open the door. But let me ask you this, the files. Okay, Mia's file still said active. Now, it's been a little bit since they've taken her out. I just would think someone would have updated the file and put a sticker on it like defunct or eliminated or something. I don't know. I mean, is there a chance that Mia is still alive? I don't think so, but that whole active thing was just something that kind of got me thinking.
That is interesting. I mean, normally I would say no, but I didn't think Dexter was coming back. And here we are.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the New York Ripper file, that one said on it, there was a sticker that said farm, and then there was something on it that said NTD. Someone in my review comment said National Transportation Database, which could tie into their position working with the city or something like that. And maybe it's nothing, but I keep going back to the New York Ripper because it was so prevalent. And I'm already almost pre-disappointed if, to your point, they're not going to be revisiting this. I mean, I think that they almost have to.
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe he'll be featured in a couple episodes. Like, the more we talk about it, the more I could see that happening.
Yep. I'd rather not said the Gemini reveal was insane, and I loved that. I think it makes sense that they were twins. I think with it being Gemini, a lot of us were thinking, okay, it's either a twin or maybe like a dissociative identity situation. And then at one point, people are like, oh, he's a triplet. There's going to be another one who comes out of the woodwork. I was like, no, that would just be too much. So I'm glad that didn't
Yeah.
happen. But again, it was a little convenient with taking out Gemini at that retreat and then pinning everything on him. And I'm glad Charlie finally got suspicious and looked into things, because for a while I'm like, how is she, as Leon's security person, not doing a little bit more digging? I mean, how did she not know this? I don't know.
Yeah, very surprising. She seemed so thorough in the beginning.
Oh, we have, let's see, Life Rider. Wish I could watch the whole stream. I'm catching a bit during my workday. Hey, feel free to come back and rewatch. Make sure everybody who's watching with us goes ahead and likes this video. By the way, I am on my journey here to become a full-time TV content creator. And my next goal is 3,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And I'm going to put up your channel here, Kim.
Oh, yeah.
I would like everybody to go ahead and subscribe to your channel. Kim, tell us a little bit about what you talk about at Mixed Bag.
Oh, okay. It's not as focused as your channel. I kind of like, it's a little smattering of everything I'm interested in. So sometimes it'll be cooking videos, sometimes it'll be book reviews, sometimes TV show reviews. It's all kinds of things. How to save money on groceries, like literally a little bit of everything.
Love that. Truly a mixed bag. And of course, we were together here for a live stream for the finale of Handmaid's Tale. And I think that was a lot of fun. And we've talked about doing some content together too. Kind of like we both have some tweens and teens, doing something on tween and teen television. And Kim, TV coming up this fall is amazing. I'm going to be covering Only Murders, Welcome to Derry, The Talamasca, maybe Gen V. I'm actually catching up on season 1, see how that goes, and maybe Pluribus. But with so many shows, I do hope like you will end up coming back and talking with me more about these.
Totally. Fallout. I'm so excited for that. I don't know when that season's coming, but I will be watching it whenever it does.
It is December, and I believe it's just one episode per week, which is kind of nice. So, the slow build. I mean, as we know, Ella Purnell is amazing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I have finally been watching Sweet Pea, which is kind of going to fill the Dexter void, I think, a little bit. There's some similarities there. I absolutely love her in that. I had no idea she was British. I probably should have known that, but that threw me a little, but it made sense.
And it's funny you bring up Sweet Pea, because there's a little element of Dexter sort of in there, like a little bit. And for anybody who hasn't watched that, it's amazing. It's on Stars, right? I think
Yes,
Stars.
yes,
Yeah,
Stars.
I think that show was absolutely fantastic. And with the whole Dexterverse, we've also heard that there could potentially be a Trinity spinoff. And speaking of Trinity, first of all, were you one of these people that thought Jonah Mitchell could have potentially been the New York Ripper? Because that was a very prevalent theory out there this season.
Oh, I don't know. I never considered that. I'm glad that didn't turn out to be the case. That'd be weird.
Yeah. No,
what did you think of that theory?
Too weird. I never really bought into that. I never thought Blessing was the Ripper. Somebody that I wouldn't mind seeing coming back that I've also heard mentioned are Aster and Cody, because Rito was a very impactful death in the series as well. And I mean, there's a connection between Aster and Cody and Harrison. So could they come back into play here in Resurrection, perhaps?
I actually saw someone post about that the other day, and I was surprised that I had forgotten all about them. But I would love to see Harrison reunite with them. I'm surprised he hasn't asked Dexter about them.
Yeah. And, I need to actually go back and do a full rewatch of the original Dexter ahead of New Blood. I had watched the finale of the original Dexter, but I will be completely honest. I mean, it's been a long time since I've watched the original. So I feel like there are some things that I'm maybe not always connecting or looking out for, because I need a little bit of a refresher. But that said, I'm thankful for all the people in the comments who are really up on their Dexter stuff and, are able to share that. And let's see, we have another comment. I read that NTD was note to draft, which meant it wasn't final and complete. Interesting. Okay. So there's more to add to the file. And we still don't know why the New York Ripper actually stopped killing, like what happened in this hiatus where they stopped and then started making the phone calls. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. And Kaz is saying, just think if Harrison didn't get that job at that hotel, right? And that feeds into a lot of these plot conveniences here. And just with the series as a whole, I think there's a necessity to suspend disbelief because, I mean, the fact that Dexter's alive in the first place is kind of wild. And let's see. I'd rather not. I'm so excited for all the Ripper lore trademark. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely incredible. And I hope we get more of that because, again, I think it would be a hugely missed opportunity to just like wrap that up too neatly. They need some sort of carryover. And Writer's Room, Kim, is already open for season 2, even though we don't have the official renewal news, which is interesting. Dexter franchise is doing some interesting things, or I guess Paramount, whatever. But I'd imagine we're going to get at least 3 seasons. I wouldn't mind more if they can continue to do it in this manner and, you know, keep it going. But the ultimate end of whenever Resurrection does finally meet its end, what would you like to see for Dexter's ultimate fate in all of this?
I always said, so I watched the original Dexter week by week as it was released. I had them all on DVD. I was a huge fan back in the day, still am. But I always wanted it to end with him being caught. And so that's why I was pretty happy about the ending of New Blood. I would still like it to end with him being caught.
Yeah, and I think because they've kind of ended it in a way where he almost died, it would make more sense than killing him again. Although, I mean, either way, I guess some sort of justice will probably end up being had. That said, given the ending of You, I think it would be so much of a similarity to have both of these killers, albeit, you know, different motives and methodologies and whatnot, end in the same way, but also there's literally no connection either to the two. So I would agree with that. I think it would make sense for justice to be had. And ironically, if Harrison does go into the Force and Gigi does go into the Force, what if Gigi, her whole point here is that she will be long-term and that maybe she will be the one to take him out because she sees something with Dexter and Harrison. And that's why she's his love interest. I just thought of that, actually. Maybe that could be why.
I would feel bad for the actress because everyone would hate her. Kind of like Bronte in You. I feel like she got a lot of hate because she was the one to finally take him down, to go down, and it wasn't necessarily fair. I feel like it could play out the same way if it indeed happens like that.
I will say I didn't love Bronte's character in You. Of course, I loved her as Janine in The Handmaid's Tale, but I agree that it wasn't necessarily fair, all of the judgment that she got for that. And also people who were out there like talking about her looks. I'm sorry, but there is just one thing I can't stand, and that is attacking actors as real people on social media. We all need to separate the fact that these people are real people. Now, are you watching The Summer I Turned Pretty? Little off topic.
No, I haven't watched that yet.
Oh my gosh. I mean, some of these actors have just been getting so much hate. One of them, I mean, for their political views, I can see that a little bit more than like appearance wise, but TV fandoms in general can just be so toxic. And I always hate it when they call people out for their appearance. And just like, we have to remember there are humans behind these actors and this is a job for them. So can we just stop doing that, please? I mean, here I am talking about Gigi, but not the actress. I think she's fine. The actress is fine. It's like the chemistry for me between Harrison and Gigi that I think bothers me the most.
It feels a little bit cringy. It doesn't quite feel right.
It does. And it's funny because someone said in my review comments, you know, you're cool with a show about murder, but you're not okay with watching like 2 people hooking up. And it's not the fact that they're hooking up. I am not a prude. Like, everyone hook up all you want. I think it's great. Like, get some. But at the same time, just like when he was under the covers at the beginning of that episode, I don't know, Kim. I just don't love them as a couple. I like, as far as shipping goes, like I will never, first of all, I hate the word shipping, but I will tell you words that will never come out of my mouth. Oh my gosh, I love Harrison and Gigi together. Nope.
Do you think it's maybe because we watched Harrison, well, we didn't quite watch him grow up, but we saw him as a baby in the original show up until he was 3, 4. And now we're seeing him at 18 doing all this. It's kind of like watching your kid.
Yeah, that could definitely be. I see him as a young innocent. And I do think that that is a very valid point. And I mean, at some point he has to grow up, but also he is still only a teenager. I mean, he can't be more than like what, 18 or 19. And I mean, obviously 18 and 19-year-olds are hooking up all the time, but
Yeah.
just the energy there. But I think that is a really good point. Maybe it is this disconnect and we see him like a child, and it is just hard to kind of like grasp that. Because I mean, Harrison is getting so much more than Dexter has in, you know, a long time. So maybe it's just his turn. I don't know. And, you know, back to your point about Mia and the love interest of it all, I would have liked to have seen that too. And right now, there's really no possible love interest. So let me throw this out there. I mentioned the Aliva and Wallace situation. Could Claudette and Dexter maybe turn into something at some point? Would that be just ridiculous? It would kind of be smart for Dexter to be involved with someone in law enforcement. I mean, maybe.
I mean, and they do have some personality similarities.
They definitely do. They do. And I think, again, that Claudette sort of started to respect Dexter a little bit after he just seamlessly looked up and was like, oh, hey, you know, this is a much longer weapon, even though we knew that Dexter knew what the weapon was already. But it really did establish him as quite the expert in his field.
Yeah. And do you think she made that connection when she saw the weapon in Prater's gallery, that it was the one that Dexter had told her about, and kind of think, like maybe she's going to be suspicious of him now?
You know, I think it could go either way. I think it could either be more affirming that Dexter really is good at his job, and maybe it opens up that door for him to be in law enforcement. Or to your point, maybe she'll be like, oh, that is a little bit too convenient.
Yeah.
And at this point, Harrison was able to evade Wallace and Aliva. Like, they didn't end up seeing him. He hid very well at the gala from Leon and from them. Did Claudette get a glimpse of him though at some point? I felt like she kind of like looked back when the tray of champagne glasses fell, but we didn't see her see Harrison either.
No, I think she almost saw him. It was really close, but I don't think she actually did.
Okay, and the cameras were out. Leon disabled the cameras at one point, which was another convenience. And they probably didn't see Dexter on camera. And then, like, the whole thumbprint, he forgot it. He was able to get it again. But someone else brought up the fact that once he entered the wrong code and the alarm went off, would he have even still been able to get away in the elevator in the first place? I mean, I don't know.
I didn't even think of that, but no, probably not. You would think everything would be disabled.
You know, we have a comment here from Schooly Mom. I am not a fan of Gigi. I do not care about her character. Me too. And hopefully it will end up being this long-term situation where maybe she'll be the one to take down Dexter, even though I wouldn't necessarily love that. And
I'm almost getting Lila vibes from her. Like, the way I felt watching Dexter and Lila together years ago is the same. It's just like, ooh, I'd so much rather him be with Elsa, the same way I'd so much rather Dexter end up with Rita.
same. And I'm wondering if they're just making Gigi unlikable for that reason, and they will end up bringing Elsa back. And we've also got Jess in the comments from Matt and Jess TV. What's up, guys? You guys have an awesome channel. And if you're not subscribed to Matt and Jess TV, highly recommend. And Jess is saying, gosh, I hope Dexter will join back up with law enforcement. And I also hope that happens. I think they have really opened the door, and it could go one of two ways, right? He will either get back in or he's going to be on the run again. So there's a lot of possibility heading into season 2.
Yeah.
And with that said, what do you want to see season 2 be? Like, if you could predict exactly how season 2 will start and some things that you would like to see, what exactly would that be?
I would really like to see him hunt down Al as one of the first things he does. Like, Al he almost seemed harmless. Like, we knew he was in the serial killer club, so we know he's not innocent. But I was wondering, like, what does he do? Like, what is his MO? Seeing him go after young women the way he does, I mean, I would really like to see Dexter take him out. I would also I love your idea of the whole road trip idea, hunting down serial killers. I think that would be so fun, at least for the first part of the season. But ultimately, I think I would like for it to start with Al.
And I do think that makes the most sense. And let me ask you this. Do you think Al actually has a family? Because someone had pointed out, what kind of guy buys themselves a souvenir that says #1 dad? Is that just because he is such a family man and loves his family? Or could he have at some point killed his entire family and this whole family thing is just a facade? I don't know. Do you think there's any meat on that bone at all?
I mean, it could totally be a misdirect for everyone else so that they don't know what they're looking for. I could see that.
And I also heard somebody say it would be a real callback if Dexter ends up taking Al out in the same way he took people out, where, he's on some jogging trail and ends up falling and setting it up kind of the same way that Al does with his victims. I think that would actually be like really clever. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Totally.
Oh, and we have Kaz in here predicting maybe back to Miami, maybe Jamie Batista looking for the truth. Quinn and her might have got close after their history. He tries to steer her off the path. Who do you think they could cast as Batista's wife?
Oh, man. I honestly have no ideas at this point. Do you have any?
Actually, I have a really good idea, and I just thought of this earlier, which is why I brought it up. So, pardon me, in The Bear, David Zayas, who plays Angel Batista, plays the husband of his real life wife, Liza Colon. Zayas, I think, is her full name. I would love if they bring his real life wife into Resurrection, just like they did in The Bear, because she's the right age. She's the right vibe. She's an actress. So I'm just throwing it out there right now. That would be my absolute dream casting and would be just 10 out of 10 for me.
You know what? I could see that.
Yes, and I'd rather not says yes, his real wife. And I'm wondering if they made Angel married and brought that up for this whole reason to get the payoff of the real life wife. But I guess the unfortunate thing is we wouldn't be able to see them together since Angel's not here anymore. And I've got to say, I don't think we need to bring back Angel as a ghost. I just don't think we need that.
Maybe some flashbacks here and there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some flashbacks I think would be fair. And then we have Kaz saying, who would be captain now? Quinn said Masuka doing his head in, pondering this. Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly who's in charge of Miami Metro and if they do go back there in the first place. I mean, Miami played such a big character in Dexter, just like they've really established New York to be playing that same sort of character here. So would you want to see them go back to Miami, or would you prefer to kind of stay the course where we're at now?
You know what? I think I would actually love to see Dexter go back to Miami, even for a couple of episodes. That would be amazing.
Okay, next question. Do you think that he will sail that yacht down to Miami?
Oh, maybe. I could see that. I mean, why else would they have him commandeer the yacht if he wasn't going to use it? As risky as it is, it seems funny.
I just still can't get over the yacht. The fact that it's called Getaway, the fact that it's a yacht and the callback to the original Dexter, the fact that yachts have GPS and there are cameras on piers and docks. It seems careless in a way. And Dexter has been careless throughout the season as well. He ordered stuff from Amazon to his house and he used his actual phone, or I'm not sure if it was maybe the burner phone that Leon had given him to call in Mia's murder. Are any of these things going to come back into play, or did our boy just manage to escape and we're just moving on like no problem? Dexter, the world is his serial killer oyster.
You know what I just thought? Maybe he's going to use the yacht to make people think Prater is still alive and just randomly sail it around and dock in different places and just not show his face and make them think it's Prater doing it.
That would actually be pretty incredible. I think it would maybe be if he was trying to, like, if he got off the boat, right? He's obviously not the right height as Leon, but I'm wondering if he can find maybe some kind of a workaround for that. Maybe he just docks it and doesn't get off the boat and then, to your point, just sails it away and is sort of doing the cat and mouse chase now with, Leon's yacht instead of the cat and mouse that I think we all thought we would see with Batista. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
But the yacht, I think that was like one of my biggest things from this episode, that he just happened to see the picture. But maybe it is telling that the police commissioner's picture, or he was in that picture with Leon at the yacht. So maybe that'll come into play. If the commissioner knows the yacht exists, again, it seems to me the first place they'd go. And then he has the private plane as well. So, I mean, there's two definite areas they could look at. But if they go to the plane, they're going to see there's no manifest. The plane hasn't taken off. It's still there. So all paths lead to this damn yacht.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Lady Dunray, a psychopath would buy himself a #1 dad plate. Yes, 100%. And that yacht is tied to Prater. He would be dumb to keep it. And where are the cameras? It has them. That is one of my biggest questions. The cameras. How are they not going to catch him on this footage? And I don't know. I really waver how they are going to move into season 2, whether it is going to be Dexter on the run or, he just disposes of the body, leaves the yacht somewhere and just comes back and is fine, just picks up with the killers, or maybe it does open up in Wisconsin with him taking out Al. So many questions.
Yeah. I honestly, I have some ideas, but I really have no idea how they're going to open season 2. There's so many possibilities.
There really are. And all I know at this point is I am so excited for it. I never expected Resurrection to meet such a high bar. It feels so authentic to the Dexter universe, more so than Original Sin, which is obviously a prequel, a little bit different. But in terms of it being better than New Blood, you could not even compare these two. And another thing for me, I didn't like Harrison in New Blood. I didn't like his character. I just didn't think Jack Alcott was really channeling those vibes. But one big takeaway for me this season is how much I love Harrison. I am connected with him. I feel like he's put the work in. He's believable, doing a great job. Now all we need to do, Kim, is just like get Gigi away from him.
Yeah. Bring Elsa back.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So let's see. Mrs. T, Dexter was wearing the dark passenger hoodie when he was on the yacht. So maybe he used it to disguise his face. That's definitely possible. And with the whole Red Schmidt and that having been one of the files, maybe he will be able to be posing as Red in the dark passenger. And maybe they really won't attribute it to Dexter because they had that tie-in with him impersonating another killer.
Oh, that is a really good point. I guess nobody knows that Red's gone except Dexter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that incinerator to me was another convenience. I mean, he's just going to find this incinerator in the city and no problem, just burn those bodies. But,
Didn't he randomly find an incinerator in New Blood too? There seems to be a lot kicking around that no one's keeping an eye on.
Yeah. And he does have, I mean, Dexter is maybe the most plot armored character ever at this point. Yeah. He's literally been resurrected. He always gets away. He never gets caught. And there was a lot of suspicion cast on him this season. And now they've undone that, with Angel not being around. And Quinn and Masuka can still come up. And I just waver whether they're going to actually work together or if they're going to be working against each other's interests.
Yeah. Oh, I felt so bad for Angel when he was kind of getting it from all sides and they were basically calling him crazy. Like, oh, it's the worst.
If you had just got out of town like they suggested, then it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. And actually, for a while, I thought that Dexter was going to get rid of his body as well. And then everybody would have thought that Angel just sort of like went away and got out of town, but now obviously it's going to have to be investigated. And whether or not they end up putting Prater in the guilty shoes for that will be interesting given the whole NYPD thing. And Jay Swiss Miss is saying he can blow up the yacht. Definitely. I don't know. I wonder where the yacht is going to end up. I just keep coming back to it because there's just so many question marks about that. And Kaz is saying Franklin McNamara mentioned goings on the yacht when Prater took a glass of champagne off of Harrison's tray. Lots of connectivity to this yacht situation. So I think that's one of the biggest question marks going into season 2 is, where's the yacht going to come into play? Is Dexter going to get back into law enforcement? What is the deal with the New York Ripper? Who are they going to cast as all these other serial killers? And can we please get David Zayas's real wife, Liza, Lisa or Liza? Sorry, I forget. As the wife of Batista. I think that would just, for me, be a complete chef's kiss. And I'm really now channeling that to happen.
Totally. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
And the Bear seems to churn seasons relatively fast. So hopefully she could find the time in her schedule. It wouldn't be necessarily a leading role. And then just, again, the opportunity to have all these new serial killer targets and how they can bring in a variety of different people. And I would think now at this point, actors are raising their hand to get involved with the Dexter franchise after seeing the season.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we got some pretty crazy guest stars for this season. I mean, I was pretty shocked to see Peter Dinklage and then Uma Thurman. Neil Patrick Harris was a huge shocker for me. I actually didn't even know he was going to be on until the episode was playing, and I was just blown away.
I loved it. I think the casting for this was impeccably done. Bringing in Peter Dinklage, I think, and all of these big actors really did kind of boost up this first season in general. It definitely helped with the overall success, but I think even without them, they probably could have got us this vested because it was done well. But I do think they sort of maybe needed some of that to bolster up the first season. So it does make sense.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, we're just over an hour here. And any other final thoughts, Kim, on wrapping up season 1, moving into season 2, other things you'd like to see? What do you got?
Just that I would like to see more Quinn and more Masuka. Maybe more Brian Moser, at maybe a little bit of both him and Harry as the, angel on Dexter's shoulder. Maybe we can get a bit of both, the bad one and the good one. And I hope he goes back to Miami. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, I like that. And as we discussed earlier, too, I wouldn't mind seeing some flashbacks, but done with the cast of Original Sin instead of flashing back more to the original Dexter. I think that would be a really good happy medium in terms of still utilizing some of those people. We saw Claudette clicking through the Bay Harbor Butcher stuff, and the picture of Aaron Spencer came up. And interestingly, Matt and Jess TV, Jess was on here earlier, said something like, how is nobody looking into the fact that all of these people from Miami Metro, the captains and people, related to them tangentially, how has nobody looked into that? That's a really good question.
Yeah, a little convenient.
Yeah, exactly. Lady Don Ray said, I would like to see Harry and Brian arguing around Dexter. That duality would be really cool.
I think that would be really cool if we get the good angel and the bad angel, and they start to argue with each other. I would love to see that. Yeah,
I think James Remar does such a great job as Harry. And even just going back to Original Sin, Christian Slater, I think, really channeled that as well. Just the casting in the whole Dexter verse, I love. Although, 2 criticisms, I would have given Sarah Michelle Gellar more to do, and I maybe would have liked to have seen a little bit more from Uma Thurman, who could still come back into play potentially.
Yeah. I mean, and we saw in Original Sin that Brian Moser has some beef with Harry.
Sure does.
Yeah.
And I mean, kind of rightfully so, I guess. Although Harry was trying to do his best. I mean, what a wild situation, right? But
and the time period was not in his favor, I think, for adoption and stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, things were not nearly as friendly back then in the 90s. I did like all of the 90s nostalgia with Original Sin, too, though. I'm a sucker for the 90s.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, Kim, cannot thank you enough for joining. I think we both agree this season was pure fire. I mean, there were definitely some plot conveniences, but for me, there were definitely a lot more highs than there were lows.
Same. Totally. Yeah.
And cannot wait for season 2. So as soon as we get more news about season 2, maybe we can come back and chat about it. And I'm hoping we get some casting. I guess my biggest hope is that it doesn't take 3 years to come back. Can we please make production a reasonable time frame? We know it can be done.
3 years for 10 episodes.
No, it's too much. It's like Severance. It takes so long to come back. And then we've got shows like The Bear or The Pit, who's coming back in a year after doing 15 episodes. I mean, come on.
I would like to know why some shows come back so quickly and some take forever.
Right. And I mean, okay, there were the strikes and whatnot and COVID, that was definitely an impact. But now that we've moved past that, I hope that we can get back to that, because you know what? Back in our day when we had shows, there were 22 shows a season, and now we're lucky if we're even getting a full 10 in the first place.
Yeah. And it would be like waiting for the fall for your show to come back, not waiting 2 years.
Yep. Oh, let's see. Lady Don Ray, I heard they're bringing back Dexter season 2 for next summer. I would love that. I mean, the writer's room is open, but is that enough time to successfully write it in a meaningful way, do the casting, get it shot, and come back? I mean, maybe if it is a road trip situation, there'll be less production logistics, perhaps.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't
Huh,
know.
I haven't heard anything about that. So now I'm gonna go do some Googling.
Yeah, no, it's definitely same. But seriously, thank you so much for joining. I think these live streams for finales are always a good time to sort of unpack our feelings, wrap things
Yeah.
up, get some reactions. And like I said at the top, I'm going to be covering some other shows: Only Murders in
Mhm.
the Building, It, Welcome to Derry, Talamasca, Fallout. Can't wait for that. And we're going to be eating pretty good in TV land. And Kim, I know you're a fan of From also. From
Yes.
is going to be back in early 2026, and I will most definitely be here talking about that as well.
I am so excited for that season. So excited.
Yes. And I know I've mentioned it to you before. You got to get into School Spirits. I think it is so cute, little supernatural mystery. I don't know. If you do check it out, let me know, because that is also coming back. And I'm very excited to talk about that. And actually, I'm going to be putting out a video soon on what we can expect for season 3. So, a little recommendation for you there, Kim.
Okay, maybe I will. I feel like when I sit down to watch TV, I have no idea where to start, but I should just write down your recommendations.
Yeah. Hey,
We probably like the same things.
yes, it's right here on Paramount Plus too, so that also works in your
Oh,
favor. I also just dropped a full season review of The Paper, which is a loose spinoff of The Office in that kind of same universe. So if anybody out there has been wavering on that, I've got a spoiler-free preview and then a full season review up. So definitely check that out. But most importantly, everybody who's here with us or rewatching, please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I'm on this path to hopefully hit 3,000 pretty soon. And I would love to hit 5,000 subs by the end of the year. And Kim, tell everybody where they can subscribe to your channel.
Oh, yes. Mixed Bag. That's the name.
Yes. Oh, you know what? Final shout out to Vinny, just popping in to say, hey, off to work I go. Have a good work day, Vinny. And to everybody who's been in the comments this season of Dexter Resurrection, I just appreciate you all. And I'm so grateful to have an audience to talk about these amazing shows with, and then guests like you who come on and have a little conversation. So thank you to everybody. It's Friday. Everyone have a good weekend. And Kim, seriously, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Always happy to talk about shows that we're both obsessed with.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we'll do this again soon. And I guess that's it. So with that said, Media Melanie and Kim at Mixed Bag, clicking off. Bye, everybody.